It's time to start. If you've been watching the showroom sessions, you know that one of the mainstays of the showroom sessions has been Larry Vuckovich. He manages to come here with all kinds of different interesting ensembles that he puts together. And this evening he's here with a fabulous Latin group. So I'm going to let him introduce his very talented sidemen. But right now, please give a virtual welcome for Larry Vuckovich and the El Vucko Latin Quartet. Enjoy.
Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are, ladies and gentlemen, West Coast, East Coast. It's a great pleasure for me to play Latin music. I came to San Francisco 51 when I was 14, and my biography, life story, has been like a movie. I heard all the great big bands, Duke Ellington, Harry James, Count Basie, Woody Herman, Dizzy Gillespie. And little by little, I go to Black Hawk, Dizzy, Oscar Peterson Trio, Modern Jazz Quartet, Cannonball. And when I start to play, I studied with Richard Wyans. John Handy was a great help. Vince Guaraldi, I was his only student. So my introduction to Latin music was, there was a club on Broadway before you go to Van Ness on the left called Copacabana. And ex-Cal Jader sideman played, and a phenomenal Latin pianist, American Mexicano, Manuel Duran, and his brother Carlos. The bass player was Carlos, and then Benny Vallarde was on percussion and another one, and my friend from high school, Bevan Brahms, played vibes. Then when I studied with Vince, I go to Black Hawk and listen to this combination. Vince Guaraldi piano, Cal Jader, Al McKibbon on bass, who was Viciano Pozzo and Dizzy, then Mongo Santa Maria, Willie Bobo. So I came to learn that music, and today we're playing some wide-ranging material. I wanted to give you a sample, like a Latin smorgasbord of great tunes from Cuba, from Mexico, also from US, and you'll get a picture. This is El Vucko Quartet. Jesse Hamlin gave me the name El Vucko because of my closeness to Spanish and Latin music. And I'll tell you a little more. But the first tune is by great Cuban composer Osvaldo Fares. A beautiful melody, Quizás, Quizás, perhaps, perhaps. I'll play it slow. It was intended slow, but we'll make it into a cha-cha. Muchas gracias, gatos. These are swinging gatos, ladies and gentlemen. I'll give a brief introduction. Our bassist is from Belgrade, Serbia. He's Serbian and 24% Hungarian. I'm from Montenegro, Serbian from Montenegro. My family goes 500 years north of Montenegro from the lake of Žabljak. Then they moved to Serbia, then we moved to Montenegro, Kotor. And who knows, Buca, we are probably part of Gypsy or Turks too. For so many people, who knows? We are a mix of all.
Not Finnish.
Not Finnish. Anyway, on the guitar, ladies and gentlemen, we have a young man. He's American, but he speaks Spanish fluent, scary. His parents lived in South America. He traveled, he played in Ghana, went to a convention. He studied with the greats on the East Coast. And he goes to Cuba. He's an international cat, one of the most versatile guitarists, Senor Kai Lyons. I call him Senor Leon. And we're great pleasure to have with us Mexicano-Americano Senor Javier Navarette, who has played with so many famous people, to name three: Aretha Franklin, Trini Lopez, and Senor John Santos, great Latin percussionist. So we are here doing a mix of music now. We could play some latest Latin on the edge style. We could do that, but I thought I would give you some picture from South America, some music that is very lyrical, and as the great musicians say, it's more challenging to play that than play a bunch of notes and patterns and kind of so-called hip. Lester Young, a young guy, was trying to impress him, played all kinds of notes, and he said, "Young man, that's fine, but can you play me a song?" That's what we're about, lyricism. So, another selection from Cuba, same composer, Osvaldo Fares. This is Tres Palabras. I'll tell you about it in a minute. Javier Navarette on bongos, Buca Necak bass, Kai Lyons guitar. Noah, just tiny bit more in the monitor, tiny bit more. Next one is a mambo, and mambo, the word and the African rhythms, has from Congolese tradition, it's connected with spiritual rhythms and praying and repeating patterns and repeating prayers. Great history. So it moved to Cuba. Also, there was a connection with southern Spain. The Moors influenced the flamenco music with those Arabic scales, and the gypsies also. Gypsy Roma people all kind of connected to Cuba and mixed together, of course, American jazz, but everything really comes from Africa. So next piece, it's a mambo. What happened, San Francisco Giants moved from New York. I think they were the Brooklyn Giants, maybe correct me if I am. And they moved to San Francisco, and their first baseman was the outstanding Puerto Rican Orlando Cepeda. And Orlando loved Latin jazz. He used to hang at the Black Hawk regularly, listening to Cal Tjader, Mongo Santa Maria, Vince Guaraldi, Willie Bobo, Alma Kibbon. And Cal Tjader did an original. You can listen to it on YouTube. It's called Viva Cepeda. One, two, three, four. Mucho calor, ritmo caliente, Javier Navarette, CC, Kai Lyons, Buca Necak. I tell you, as I mentioned, what a fortune I played with Dexter Gordon, Philly Joe Jones, John Hendricks, Mel Torme, Elvin Jones, so many great people. And then all of a sudden I'm meeting Latin people. I was in England with John Hendricks for a year. He had a tour, and who does he hire? Errol Garner was in England, so he hires Errol, percussionist. Jose Mangual, who played with Charlie Parker. And then later in New York, I played with Frankie Malabe, Big Black, great Latin drummer. Also, another great Latin drummer from here, Hector Lugo, Puerto Rico, and then Luis Romero and Javier Navarette, John Santos. So it's been a wonderful experience, but I should mention Pete Escovedo. The Tres Palabras was recorded for Concord Records with an all-star band. Tom Harrell, Pete Escovedo, Larry Grenadier, and Eddie Marshall on the Brazilian tunes with Ed Elcio Milito, the great Brazilian percussionist. So, a little history. Okay, next there are so many famous boleros from Mexico and Central America. This one, to me, maybe might be the most famous and very soulful, Historia de un Amor, written by Panamanian Carlos Almaran. First I heard it by Lucho Gatica, and later I recorded with Jackie Ryan. Historia de un Amor. La música con mucha alma y muy romántica también. And you're listening to world soul, Balkan soul from Buca, American, Mexicano, Cuban, everything. Soul from Kai Lyons and Senor Javier Navarette, Alma Latina. It all comes together as world music. Yep. Tres Palabras, I should say, first came to America, of course, Osvaldo Fares. Walt Disney had a film, something about Donald Duck Goes South America, when they try to combine the friendship of Brazil in the Second World War, and anyway, it was in a cartoon, and in America it became known as Without You. I'm so lonely and blue when I'm without you. Yeah, a little history there. Now, we are going to the soul of the Gypsy Roma people, this time from Russia. Ochi Chornaya, Dark Eyes, beautiful tune. People think it's Russian, it is, but it's Gypsy Roma Russian. And you heard the song, it works in swing, but it works well in mambo. I recorded it with Chuck McPherson, Hector Lugo, Vince Delgado, and let me see, Paul Keller on bass, great percussion. Ochi Chornaya. Muchas gracias. Ah, qué ritmo, qué ritmo. Javier Navarette. Ah, how about the Balkan soul, ladies and gentlemen? And how about the beautiful Cuban soul, Kai Lyons? When I said muchas gracias, we can't forget to thank our wonderful sound person, Noah Hendricks. Great sound, great sound. And it all starts with Jim Callahan. We've been playing here for many years. Thank you, Jim, for providing this opportunity to play not only in the past great concerts in front of live people, but today streaming. Jim, thank you, and thanks to Jim's brother, John, great technician. This is, of all the concerts today, my favorite Fazioli. Italian piano, and in honor of this, we're going to have some pizza after. Anyway, okay, ladies and gentlemen, here is a tune introduced in the 40s by great composer, classically trained pianist who could improvise and play concerto style. Go to YouTube and put the name Walter Gross. He wrote tenderly. Sarah Vaughan recorded it, but then it came on the map in 1953 MGM film, Torch Song. Joan Crawford plays a song and dance lady, and the tune is featured, and the pianist is in a soundtrack, Walter Gross, great piano player, tenderly. I don't know any Latin drummer who can do the clave with his voice. And nobody else does it so perfectly. When we were playing at Pearls one time, and Omar Clay was on drums. Omar couldn't believe it when you started doing it. Yeah, man. And speaking of clave, when we were learning Latin music in high school, we didn't know anything. People said, well, clave is simply, you can just say shave and a haircut, 2 bits. That was the word in those days for clave. Clave is the underlining Latin rhythm. Oh, muchas gracias, hombre. Okay, now let me see just a second. I was fortunate to do a TV show in San Diego, Club Date, 1990. Great band. Tom Harrell, Peter Scovedo, Al Obedinsky on bass from here, and a great LA drummer, Harold Mason. You can go to my website, LarryVuckovich.com. There's a menu there. Go to Media, and in Media, scroll Video, and it's in high definition. And Paul Marshall from Lincoln High School, where I came, became an award-winning TV producer, documentaries. He had Club Date, 50 of them. They're in the Library of Congress now. He recorded Cedar Walton. I can't remember all the bands. Cal Tjader. Speaking of Cal Tjader, I should say, I studied first before anybody with Cal Tjader's wife, Pat Tjader, very sophisticated pianist. She first introduced me to Bill Evans. And when she was expecting, she said, go ahead and study with Vince. But Pat Tjader, wonderful pianist. So, okie doke. Next thing we are going to do is, as I said, tune from the 50s, very popular with dance bands in New York, Dancero. Dancero. Yeah, all this music is always played for dancers. No matter how hip it is, it's part of the rhythm. When you play for dancers, they get inspired from the rhythm. So you watch them, you get inspired from their moves. It goes back and forth. Charlie Parker used to play for dancers. And the great bebop pianist Barry Harris has some of the most natural swinging 8-note rhythm. You can dance to it. But you know something? Barry Harris can jitterbug. I was hanging in this club that he had, Cultural Theater. I watched him jitterbug. I mean, the cat has a groove. So music and dancing, and Barry said, audience was lost when people start dancing. That's partly true. Anyway, next, speaking of guitar, Mexican guitars, ethnic guitars, Cuban with that beautiful natural string sound, one of the greatest of all time who influenced everybody was the Belgian Gypsy Roma, Django Reinhardt. And I tell you, what a tragedy with Gypsy people. They always have to run. Some of the most talented people, it's a shame how they're chased. Django was fortunate because Nazi officer liked his music and Nazi soldiers went wild, but the higher officials didn't want it too popular. So to save his life, Django had to escape from France. He went to Swiss border, and the shame is they didn't let him in. Tragedy. He came back, he stayed alive till after the war. Anyway, one of his beautiful tunes is Django's Castle. Listen to that. Also go to Jerry Mulligan on YouTube. Wonderful arrangement. I worked with Jerry, one of the great musicians. This is Django's Castle. I'll just play a little rubato. Django's Castle. Beautiful melody. Oh boy. Well, we go now to Vince Guaraldi. This is a samba when Vince was in the army in Tokyo. Ginza samba. Ginza is a downtown area of Tokyo. And Vince recorded this few times. One time with Bolacete, great Brazilian guitarist. Also, if you go to YouTube and put Ginza Samba, Larry Vuckovich, 2018 Monterey Festival, we had a nice live recording. This is Ginza Samba. Thank you, Vince Guaraldi. I need to mention one of Vince Guaraldi's early partners, the wonderful Dean Riley. He was in his mid-90s. In the early days, he recorded 2 albums with Vince, with Eddie Duran, beautiful trio albums, and recorded with all kinds of people. He was mid-90s. He passed away a few days ago. Great person. Also played trumpet. He knew harmony. He had a real groove. I don't know, this album is not available. Eddie Duran, jazz guitar. Dean Riley, John Markham, and Howie DeDoon. Well, Dean, great memories. Dean Riley. One more selection. We're going to close. Part of the great Latin music was always bebop. Chano Pozo introduced 4/4 conga bop. Then Ray Barreto and the other Latin drummers, Candido, they all swung. And Hector Lugo swings on 4/4. This is a selection, late 30s. Glenn Miller recorded it. It's a Blue World. Then 4 freshmen did it as a ballad. Beautiful harmonies. Some composers wrote only one tune that they're known for. This one, like As Time Goes By, what was the name? Herbert Hubbard something. This was written by a guy I never heard of, Chet Forrest. Beautiful tune. However, Red Garland swung it. We're going to say good evening with It's a Blue World. Da, 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 the intro. Ba, ba, da, ba, ba, do, da. 1 second. Un poquito agua.
That's 3 seconds.
One, two, three, four.
Another wonderful show. Larry Vuckovich and the El Vucko Latin Quartet. Thanks for that beautiful Latin music. Great to hear. Now, the links to donate are still up, and if you haven't donated already, please give show some financial love to these musicians. You can follow the links there to make a donation. And as we've said before, if you're having any trouble with the links online, having any trouble making those donations, please just call us here at the piano store during business hours. Number's 510-547-8188. Give us your credit card, and we will make sure that your donation goes to the musicians. And as always, 100% of everything that's donated goes right to the players that you have seen on stage. So that's all for us for this time, and we will be back this Thursday with Tammy Hall and Lambert Moss. That's going to be a great show at 5 p.m. And don't forget our special added show this week. Friday at 7 p.m., it's Sullivan Fortner and Kyle Lyons, fabulous piano and vibraphone duo. As we said, they played our last live show here 1 year ago. And Sullivan's come through town to make a recording, and we're really pleased that he's going to be here and be able to do this special version of the showroom sessions. Once again, don't forget it's it's a special day, Friday. It's a special time, 7 p.m., Sullivan, Fortner, and Kyle Lyons. So my name is Jim Callahan for the Showroom Sessions and for Piedmont Piano Company. My co-producer of the Showroom Sessions is Jordan Perlman. Our on-site engineer is Noah Hendricks, and our on-site cameraman extraordinaire, Ted Leahy. We want to thank them and thank the crew. So until this coming Thursday, we will say so long until next time.